Talk about the wheel coming round. Sunday Mail showed Philip Schofield had groomed Matthew McGreevy and paid him 150 grand. Now, they've been trying to say that he only worked at Good Morning Britain while he was an adult. Well, it wasn't only that, because since the kid was about 10, he was at a Tameside theatre school, and Schofield came and gave a lecture, got pally with him, and it all went from there. Now that is grooming. So GMP, get off your arse and get him arrested, like I told you 8-10 months ago. He's a criminal paedophile. Now, of course, GMP don't like locking up paedophiles, as it's been proved in Rochdale, but this is one to start with, isn't it? Get a grip. Upon a time, crying out loud. Well, it's always a fairy story when Burnham's involved, isn't it? Have you seen, he got pushed into a corner years back, 2017, when a film, Betrayed Girls, was shown on BBC as a result of Maggie Oliver of her foundation blowing the doors wide open on the corruption involved in the grooming of young girls by Asian Pakistanis in the Rochdale Oldham area. Well, Burnham starts this inquiry, and realising the ball of shit he'll be in if it's genuine, he gets two tame individuals. Who was it now? Malcolm Newsom, CBE, who was in Rotherham Council when that was rife with Asian Pakistani paedophiles, but they were arrested. They all got sentenced, big sentences and all that, and he resigned from the council. Got a CBE, crying out loud. And who joined him? Ex-Chief Superintendent Gary Ridgway, Head of Public Protection for Cambridgeshire Constabulary. Have you ever heard of them? Nor have I, and I used to be in the job, for crying out loud. So anyway, they did this report, and they were given the boundaries by Burnham of only to do between 204 and 212. Well, we all know Operation Augusta and Operation Green Jacket started well after then, when it really blew up. But no, that's all he wanted, because he had to keep the lid on it. Well, what did he want to keep the lid on for? Well, a young girl, Victoria Agoglia, was injected with heroin by this 50-year-old Asian Pakistani slime ball, who then only got 3 years in nick for doing that, having pleaded guilty. Can you get your breath? 3 years. Anyway, that's keeping the lid on Burnham, isn't it, eh? But there's more to come. Well, his report was festering along, and initially they managed to report, and I'm going to read this because it's fascinating. Initially, they found no evidence is to suggest senior councillors, Burnham being one of them, of course, sought to cover up child sexual exploitation. Now, wait for it. There was no widespread child sexploitation in residential settings, shisha bars, or in the local taxi trade, all of which, of course, were populated by Asian Pakistanis. But anyway, later on in the review, they must have forgot they'd written this, because they said the review found evidence of widespread organised sexual exploitation in Rochdale between 204 and 213, and failures of statutory agencies to respond appropriately. Well, statutory agencies, the GMP and all the care service. So anyway, don't forget, I've said it before, read the book. It gives you all the detail. Pictures here to show why the Honourable Mr. Burnham has gone quiet at the moment, which is quite rare, but happens now and again. He's made friendships that perhaps he's now regretting. But anyway, I think the pictures say it all. Forward to 218. Ian Hopkins, a nutcase chief constable who was dispensed with rather rapidly without a knighthood, employed an assistant chief constable, the first ethnic ever to be in charge of GMP, who was called Mohammed Hussein, known as Mabel at his previous force, which should say it all. But Mohammed Hussein came in, obviously, as an Asian Pakistani to investigate Asian Pakistani child groomers and paedophiles. Well, if that's not turkeys voting for Christmas, I don't know what is, and I've said it before. But he did, and no arrests were ever made, really. And it went on, and he kept being interviewed by the Manchester Evening News, Neil Keeling, who just published anything he said, and he was talking about number of kids that were attacked and all this, and the suspects, 97 suspects identified, names and addresses, blah, blah, blah. No arrests. But Neil Keeling, senior investigative reporter at the Manchester Evening News, never asked why. Because they were supplying the court lists to Manchester Evening News, who filled pages and pages of stories of arrests and things and how good GMP are doing. And of course, that suited GMP. So the Evening News asked no questions, and GMP revelled in it. Well, Keeling never even asked, why are other forces making so many arrests and we're not? That's investigative journalism for you, isn't it? Well, it wasn't to last for Mr. Hussein Mohammed Mabel, because on the 24th of May 21, hard-nosed Stephen Watson came on the scene as new chief constable and vowing to clean up GMP and everything wrong with it. So anyway, in January 2022, Mabel suddenly disappeared from the ranks of Greater Manchester Police. No explanation, no Manchester Evening News cover story, nothing. One day he was there, in charge, Operation Green Jacket. Next day, gone. Where did he go? Well, he went to North Yorkshire. But strangely, nothing in the local media mentioned that he'd come from Greater Manchester. The story was covered, but no mention of Greater Manchester. There's nothing in Wikipedia on his service in Greater Manchester. And lo and behold, he doesn't appear in the website as the Deputy Chief Constable, which is why he went there, apparently. And it's only a little force, mind you. It's only 1,600 men. So it's like being a general in Mexico army, I suppose. Anyway, nothing, he's never appeared anywhere. So just in case he was coming out of the shadows, I wrote to North Yorkshire Police and to the Crime Commissioner there as well. And I told her all about his history from the book. And it was pages, of course, you see, and you must read it. Because, anyway, he never appeared again anywhere. So, if I can help somebody, strange, isn't it? Comes round, it goes round and all that.